teaching our child to read and write simplified here on Good Morning Sri Lanka this Tuesday, and of course Arundhati has been doing all the work for us, and we've seen some interesting videos as well about how the techniques that parents can use to start off teaching their kids, and just a base to build up on, because sometimes a new parent might find it a bit daunting, right, to try and teach their small child and get them involved with these basic skills. I mean, what are the challenges that a new parent would face at this point?
Well, they'll feel completely lost because they will know what's the age appropriation for the child, when you start introducing letters and all kinds of things. So as we discussed before, I think we start from the sounds, make the child very thorough with the sounds, then we introduce the letters to them. And it's all about the method you use, as I said, and it's you need to make it reading should be a very fun thing with the child, and we are all like creatures of habit, so this is a habit we should teach the child when they are young to enjoy.
Definitely, and it's something that's really diminishing from the kids nowadays, isn't it? They're very tech savvy, they're very up to date on the sort of technological aspect of things, but when it comes to sitting down and reading a book, maybe we don't see a lot of children actively wanting to do that. So do you think that's a problem?
Well, it is for me, of course as a teacher I'll always encourage a child to read than do anything else, because it is a way of opening their eyes to so much of knowledge and a different world of education. So as I said, this habit should be started when they are very young. So for the question you asked, I guess most parents do not introduce it as a fun activity to the child. So
more of a chore, I think.
Yes. So when they lose that sense of it, children cannot be forced to do anything. So you have to make it a very fun thing, like bedtime stories, always sitting and reading books, and games. There are so many games you can incline initially with the kids.
Okay.
Like finding letters, or making even fun things like magnetics on the fridge, you know, stuff like that. And then only, as I said, never make them feel it is just academic. That is something they really need to enjoy learning.
So every morning when the kids get up and they come downstairs, they'll see a new word up on the fridge. That should be
Good
fun.
technique.
Yeah, yes. See, I'm learning on this show. But now, if you take a lesson though, how should it be? Should you keep aside a special duration or special time every day where you do this with the child, or should it be something that is incorporated throughout the day at a very, in a very casual way? What's the best format of introducing this to a child?
When the child is young as 1.5 or just about 2, it should be just a very casual kind of introduction. You reading the books and then listening to you, not making it too monotonous or too long for them to understand. But when they are 2 or over 2, when they're starting to like absorb the sounds or recognizing letters, as you said, they should have a certain span of time where they spend with the letters, like the concrete letters, which we showed, right? The cardboard letters, where they will sit and make words with you.
And also finding, and on that note, finding suitable books for the child to read also is very important, because if you are buying, extremely complicated books or books that are too simple, I guess then again the learning process is lost there. So how can a parent find suitable books for their child to read?
Well, unfortunately, if the child is young as 2, the introduction should be to 3-letter words.
Okay.
Right? Okay. So you cannot find a story with 3-letter words unless you make it at home. Right? But if not, very simple stories, like very rhymey stories where the child will enjoy, but don't expect them to recognize the word while you're trying to teach, because for a certain period of time, till 3+, it will be 3-letter words, and only 4-letter words the child will be very fluent with.
But once they go into Montessori as well, this is usually at about 2.5 years of age.
Now, yes.
Yes, now. So what should the child be learning during the first year, and what should the parent, as their responsibility, should be ensuring that their child is learning at a Montessori?
Well, that's a good question. Like when you're trying to teach your child at home, you need to always make sure you don't conflict the sound. So, for example, I'm teaching the sound air to the child, and then the mother is trying to teach another sound at home. There is a possibility of the child getting confused. So it's always good to check with the teacher what is she trying to introduce at that moment and keep aligned with that sound.
I see. Okay, so then it's very important to build up a rapport with the teacher who is.
And the more you introduce the letters you introduce, the sounds you introduce, child becomes better with the vocabulary.
And is there any point where a parent should be concerned? Let's say even at 1.5 years or 2 years, the child is not really picking these sounds up, and it's sort of lagging behind when it comes to certain the skills that other children of the same age may have gained by that time. Is there any point where the parent should be concerned?
Yes, I mean, if a child even at about 3 or 3 plus still cannot make sense of a 3-letter word, then obviously it is a concern. But you need to keep in mind that some children are slow learners, right? And still, if you feel they are about 4 plus and still they are not recognizing the simple letters of the alphabet or the sounds to make a very simple word, maybe you could actually check their hearing as well, because that also can affect their reading ability.
Alright, so these are things that a new parent should look out for. We're going for a very short break. We'll be right back. Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Now we've been speaking about how you can get your child started on reading. But I have to ask you, Arunthi, now when in a child's development will this skill of reading then become the skill in writing as well? At what age does this usually happen?
Well, according to the theory, writing is always a by-subject of reading.
Okay.
So writing is something the child does automatically.
Okay.
Right? But saying that doesn't mean you are not supposed to introduce the patterns to the child. So, for example, everything should be concrete to abstract when you're teaching a child. For example, the cardboard letters which we did, right? So that's a concrete form of your letter, right? So the abstraction will be your writing.
Of course.
Okay.
It won't be the exact form of the letter that you showed.
Yeah, but by feeling it and touching it sensorially, the child will pick up the shape and will go into abstraction of writing on a book or a paper. So added to just teaching the child or recognizing the letters, cardboard letters for a child to read, there is a concept of teaching the formation of letters which are called sandpaper letters or letters you can feel.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So which helps the child to actually feel the letter and get the shape of it. So for the question you asked, actually writing is not something you force the child to do. It should be something automatic coming through the rest of the process you are taking.
Okay, but if you are introducing the child, and let's say at about 3 plus years of age, the child is able to grasp 3-letter words and maybe even 4-letter words, is that the right time to introduce writing as well?
Writing needs to go along with the reading. What happens is you do not tell them physically, you don't give them a pencil and a paper and tell them write. But children actually start moving their pencil grips and their wrist muscles automatically. What happens is they will always scribble and then it's a formation of building that first before you physically tell the child to write. But sensorially, like sensor, using your 5 sensors, you are teaching the child the shape of a letter and getting them ready by feeling the letter. Automatically what happens is their wrists get ready to the writing process and they will write. So I think even a child young as 2 plus will do it if you are using the right techniques.
Oh, so there is a physical aspect there as well, isn't it? Because the child has to be strong enough to really hold the pencil and grip the pen or pencil and then start writing. But does exercises like drawing help in that? You're getting your child to draw first and getting those motor skills developed?
First thing is the motor skills, like from everything like holding a spoon to tying their shoelace to doing everything. It's about their development of motor skills, and of course eye hand coordination, that does matters. Just because a child can hold a pen, that doesn't mean if he doesn't have eye hand coordination he won't have the balance of continuing the writing. So these are step by step things in basic child development, as we always talk about physical development, then the language, cognitive, and the social development.
I see. So these are all step-by-step processes, and they take some time for the child to develop. But of course, if you use the right techniques, then your child is well on the way to gaining all of these skills at the right time, aren't they?
And the correct amount of attention.
Of course.
And of course using the right techniques without trying to use everything which everyone is using. As a parent, even with the clips we saw, I think the parents should always be more observant of what they are trying to teach, and if they are not sure, they should actually check with someone who is able to help them out in guiding their children.
So it's very important for all parents to really get involved in the process, understand what you have to do to help your child come to gain these skills and to come to the right stage at each level of development. And I'm sure with all the information that's available around, as well as the insights that we've shared with you on Good Morning Sri Lanka, that it will be a cinch for you to teach your children and to really give them a great foundation just as they're starting off life. So with that, we are going to wrap up to this Tuesday's segment of Good Morning Sri Lanka. We're going to leave you with a song. Now this is one of my favorites actually. This is What Goes Around Comes Around by Justin Timberlake.